Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who was once again under fire for reportedly creating another Signal group messaging chat where he allegedly shared details of a military airstrike against the Houthis. That chat allegedly including his wife and his brother. And it marks the second incident of allegedly sharing sensitive information on that messaging app in just as many months. Let's get out to NewsNation's Joe Khalil live for us in Washington. So, Joe, at this point, does it appear this secretary is in jeopardy of losing his job?
No, not at the moment. It appears that Secretary Hegseth and President Trump are on good terms, are on the same page. An advisor to President Trump tells NewsNation that he's not at risk of losing his job or anything like that for now. And the reason that we emphasize for now is because this advisor to the president also tells NewsNation it is still unclear how many of these kinds of stories coming out of the Pentagon, the White House, will tolerate before they potentially have a change of heart. There have been several headlines. There have been several high-profile firings, people leaving. There have been reports of what appears to be a chaotic environment at the Pentagon, at least from the outside looking in. Secretary Hegseth was on another network this morning defending himself and defending the situation, saying that there are people who worked under him that were trying to foster an environment that was chaotic, that undermined President Trump's agenda. And this is what else he said.
When you dismiss people who you believe are leaking classified information, and again, the investigation is ongoing and that will take time, and when the evidence produced, it will go to DOJ, why would it surprise anybody, Brian, if those very same people keep leaking to the very same reporters whatever information they think they can have to try to sabotage the agenda of the president or the secretary? So once a leaker, always a leaker, often a leaker.
Now, the advisor to President Trump tells NewsNation one reason that Secretary Hegseth is in a good position right now is because the whole controversy around this Signalgate situation focused on information about strikes against Houthi terrorists. Those strikes, per the administration, were largely successful. They say that this is something, as they carried out, they saw as a major win for the DOD and the Pentagon. So one reason why, again, at least for the moment, Secretary Hegseth appears to be in good standing with the president. But those questions are lingering. How many more stories coming out might potentially be a distraction for the White House that they don't want to deal with anymore?
All right. So, Joe, we know the administration is rallying around Hegseth, at least publicly, but at least one Republican is suggesting it may be time for him to resign.
Yeah, and that's a big deal. It's no small thing when a Republican, a prominent one, someone who serves on the Armed Services Committee, comes out and makes comments like the ones we have. We're talking about Congressman Don Bacon, who's not only a Republican and a member of Armed Services, but also himself is actually an Air Force general. And he says here, quote, if it is true that Hegseth had another chat with his family, referring to his brother, his wife, and his personal attorney, had a chat about missions against the Houthis, that is totally unacceptable. Congressman Bacon went on to say, I'm not in the White House. I'm not going to tell the White House how to manage this, but I find it unacceptable, and I wouldn't tolerate it if I were in charge. One other damning note that came out roughly at the same time the story did about this Signalgate 2.0 came out from John Elliott, a man who just last week was one of the top spokespeople for this Department of Defense, someone who describes himself as a very strong President Trump loyalist. And this is what he said in an essay op-ed to Politico. He says, quote, it's been a month of total chaos at the Pentagon, from leaks of sensitive operational plans to mass firings. The dysfunction is now a major distraction for the president, who deserves better. In short, the building is in disarray under Hegseth's leadership. Again, Elliott, not very long ago, one of the top spokespeople there, somebody who has talked about how he feels a very strong loyalty even still to President Trump, despite making the decision to leave the Department of Defense last week because of what he described as this chaotic environment. So if there are more stories, if there is more reporting about that kind of thing, that would be something that may be concerning to to the DOD, to the White House, and we may see more questions arise about Secretary Hegseth's future in that case, Nichole.
All right, Joe Khalil in Washington, thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.